Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome you to Lawrence Technological University's presentation for College Week Live. If you're unfamiliar with us, we are a small private school in Michigan. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mario Sibilli. I'm one of the admissions counselors at the university. I've been here for around 6 years now. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. But I'd like to welcome you, and I'm going to kind of give you an overview of the school, the requirements that we have to get into the university, what we're all about, majors we have, scholarship opportunities, what to do outside the classroom as well. So once again, I'd like to welcome you, and we'll go ahead and get started here. So to kind of get us to where we are today, I feel it's very important to understand the history of the university. We were started in 1932 by the Lawrence brothers, and we were actually started on the campus of the Henry Ford Model T plant. So at this time, it was at the heightened Great Depression area. So the brothers started the university because they wanted, innovation to be key to kind of move forward because of this tough time for everyone. The university was started primarily for workers of Ford. They would, work during the day. They would have night classes, which is interesting because in the 30s you wouldn't think that night classes would be an option. But we were actually the first university to offer evening classes. So it's very flexible for students to finish their education. It's not the same setup as a lot of universities as well in regards to the way that the curriculum is and how we just go about things. We're really focused on theory and practice, which is the motto of the university when it began, and it's how we do things today. So what that exactly means is you're not only in a classroom, lecturing, hearing about everything. You're actually going to be doing specific things for your major right away. It's a hands-on approach that really benefits the student. So how we actually incorporate that is there's senior projects that capstone everyone's 4 years or 5 depending on their major here. There's team projects and opportunities for students to start as a freshman in these as well. For instance, our Blue Devil Motorsports, which you'll see the pictures in the presentation right here, students can take advantage of these beginning their freshman year. So you're really diving right into what you want to do right away, which is important for a few reasons. One of the main reasons is you'll decide if that major is for you, and you can really get a good experience and begin networking, your first year. There is much lab, studio, and real-world application regarding any of the majors we have here. And something that you may not think to ask when you're looking at different schools, but it's an opportunity that we have at Lawrence Tech, is the availability of undergraduate research. So that will definitely help you, see what professionally they're looking for and different options that you have. We're a very small university, as most private schools are. We have 4,500 students. Out of those 4,500, there's about 3,100 undergraduate students. So it's very small and student focused. That's definitely going to be beneficial when you're in the classroom. An average class is around 15 to 20 students. So it's not like what many people think when they're looking at universities. It's going to be a huge lecture hall of hundreds and hundreds of students. That's just not how we do things here. Most classes, I would say, probably are about 18 students on average, which is definitely beneficial. You'll get better, questions answered from your professors, and it's just other opportunities you'll have as well. It's a very diverse campus as well. We have students that come from over 35 different states right now and 42 countries. State-wise, we have obviously students from Michigan. That's where we're based out of. But there's students from Ohio, Illinois, Texas, Florida, New England, all over. New York, New Jersey as well are very popular. There's 30,000 alumni worldwide. So a common question is, are people familiar with your graduates? Definitely they are. Those alumni live everywhere. So there's definitely a great networking following with that regard, and people do know about LTU. a few things that are beneficial to the student coming in is this: when students apply to the university, they're actually applying to a specific major. So most universities, what happens is students are going to apply to, let's say, University A. They'll get accepted to that university, hopefully, obviously. And then when they're a junior, they'll have to apply to their major, if they maintain a certain GPA and whatnot. There might not be space for everyone. At Lawrence Tech, it's actually a little different. So when you're applying to the university, you're actually going to be applying to a specific major. That's going to be, advantageous for a couple of different reasons. First of all, you're going to start in your major courses your freshman year. So what that means is, let's say you want to pursue engineering, for instance. Your first year, you're going to have courses directly in the engineering curriculum, and you're also going to have general education courses as well. So what it is like is it's actually a balanced approach for 4 years. So when you go looking for jobs, and a lot of people say, what experience do you have? You'll actually have a 4-year experience in your major rather than 2. It also kind of isn't as intense your junior and senior year, I would say, because you're not taking only classes in your major for those last 2 years. So students do like the fact that it is balanced. And let's say, you think you want engineering, and after your first semester in that, you want to switch majors to architecture, for instance. It's a lot easier to know right away rather than waiting, 2 or 3 years, and then it's going to take you quite longer to finish your degree. Courses are always taught by faculty only. So many larger universities are going to have, teaching assistants or grad students that are going to be teaching your courses in addition to the professor. At Lawrence Tech, it's always taught by professors, never anyone else. That's very important as well. They do have experience in the field that they're in. They're either, working in the field that they're teaching, or they have recently. That way, when they're teaching you certain things, it's relevant to what is actually going to be an industry, so that's important too. If there's anyone that's interested in, pursuing our honors program at the university, that's definitely something to take advantage of. If you do meet the qualifications, what we're looking at for that is if you have at least a 3.5 grade point on a 4-point scale and a 25 ACT, you could apply for our honors program. And what that is all your core classes that you're taking, you're going to be in those classes with honors students. So for instance, a couple English classes, 2 humanities, 2 social sciences, and then your math and science courses, you would have specific honors sections. So if you qualify for that, that's definitely something that, may be of interest. The university, this is very important to know. This is called our LTU Zone. So what this is each student, no matter what major they're interested in or pursuing, they're going to get a customized laptop that has hardware and software specific to what they are going to be doing. Like I said earlier, since you're in your major as a freshman, this is something you're going to be using your first semester, so it's definitely an advantage in that regard. You can see here if you've already looked into what you want to study, you may be familiar with some of these programs already. For a lot of the design programs and for architecture, the Adobe Suite, most people are familiar with that. Any architectural software, CATIA, you may be familiar with Revit. Science-wise, Photoshop, Illustrator. Engineering, AutoCAD, most people are familiar with that. SolidWorks as well. Management, obviously Office, most people are familiar with. It's important too that these are not the student versions of these programs, they're actually the industrial versions. So I always kind of go back to, when you're looking for employment and jobs, because that's an important piece to the college process as well. Employers are going to ask you, what do you know how to use, and we're using things that they might not even be using as far as versions 2. So that definitely puts you a step ahead of students at other institutions that, they won't have to pay to train because they already are going to be learning how to do these things. These are very expensive too. They're not necessarily expensive to you because it's all included in tuition, but these are valued at up to $15,000. And that's included. So a nice thing as well is if there's ever any problem with your device, you can always bring that to our help desk, and they'll either give you a loan or fix it right away. Printing is free on campus too, so you won't have to pay to do anything like that. So it's definitely a benefit to the student in that regard. Leadership is kind of a key thing that a lot of institutions are really talking about lately. I guess one of the questions that a lot of people have is, well, what exactly are you doing with that? Leadership is important. How do you actually portray that, at your university? What we do here at Lawrence Tech is we actually have students have a curriculum developed for leadership particularly. So each year they take one course. It's about a 1 credit hour course each year. It's specific to leadership. There's service learning opportunities within that. And what's nice about it too is when you do graduate, not only are you going to have a transcript with all the grades for those courses and all your academic and general courses too, there's going to be a transcript of what you actually did in those leadership courses. So when you go to apply, a lot of employers are going to ask you, I request a transcript to see what type of student you are and whatnot. They're not only going to be able to see what your grades were, but what you actually did, which is very important as well. If you're interested in a study abroad opportunities too, we have some related to leadership, service learning opportunities, and also some specific to your major as well. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, what kind of programs do you have? I know it's a tech university. I'm interested to see, I've seen all the laptop specs. What do you offer here? Well, the university is broken up into 4 different colleges. So what we have is a College of Architecture and Design, a College of Arts and Sciences, a College of Engineering, and a College of Management. And I'll go through each one of those specifically so you can see kind of the wide array of programs that we do have. The College of Architecture and Design is going to have programs at the bachelor's and master's level. And as you can see on here, the first program listed is architecture, and it's listed under bachelor's and master's. That program is unique in the regard that it is a 5-year program. So you could apply for that coming right out of high school, and you start in that program like any other. Like I said, it's a mix between your core classes and also your studios for architecture. But the nice thing about that one is after 5 years, you actually have a graduate degree in architecture. So if you're familiar with that field, that is something that's required in order to sit for licensure for the architecture field. So that's nice because it's not 4 years and then 2 or 2.5 years. It's rolled right up into 5 years. There's a lot of other design programs too. Graphic design is very huge here. The fact that we do give you the tools to use as part of the LTU Zone that I talked about earlier, many students pursue design-related fields at Lawrence Tech. Although we were founded as an engineering school when we began, architecture-related degrees in design are very, very popular here. The College of Arts and Sciences is going to have degrees a lot of people are going to be more familiar with because most of these courses are going to be part of your general education as well. You'll notice one thing that's not specifically listed on here that many people are interested in is pre-med. So there's always a common thing that people want to major in pre-medical. It's not necessarily a major at most universities, it's more of a track of courses. So most people that want to pursue something like pre-med at Lawrence Tech are going to go either into chemistry, they may go into molecular and cell biology, you could either go into biomedical engineering through the College of Engineering. Psychology is popular as well. Computer science is a very popular program at the university too. So there's many options regarding arts and sciences. Media communication is a very popular one as well. So engineering, you can see we offer the most majors in. It's not necessarily our primary focus, but because of our background and how we were started, we do have many degree programs in engineering. Architectural engineering, you'll notice, is the same as architecture as on the previous slide a couple ago. That's a 5-year program as well. So you start in that one. After 5 years, you have a master's. All the other architecture programs engineering programs are going to be 4-year programs. They don't necessarily have to be 5-year to get into the field of engineering to be licensed, so that's why not too many are going to be combined like the architectural engineering. Biomedical engineering is a very popular one here. Mechanical, civil, computer. we're one of the few universities that actually have a specific robotics engineering program, which is definitely a program that is very popular because there's many jobs and many aspects to that too that people like. That program is really going to encompass computer science, mechanical engineering, computer engineering too. So if you think you might be interested in something like that, definitely check us out. There's going to be a new program, embedded software engineering, that a lot of people have showed an interest in, and we've just added that program for this upcoming fall. So it's also interesting to see that we do offer master's degrees and doctoral in engineering. So if you wanted to continue after your bachelor's, you can definitely do that too. The College of Management is actually the second college that we started at the university after engineering. There's majors within business administration, specifically if you want to do any accounting, marketing, finance, IT, or you could pursue general business, which a lot of people do as well. These are going to lead right into our MBA and our MSIS program too. So those are very popular at the university. Okay, so if you are a freshman out there and you're watching this, you might say, what am I needing to apply to the university? I want to go to Lawrence Tech. What do I need? When do I need to do it? And we can definitely help you out with that. So as a freshman, we have rolling admissions. So what that means is you can apply at any time. We usually recommend that you apply early. The earliest that you'd be able to apply is after your junior year is completed, as long as you've taken your ACT or SAT. So as soon as you do get all those results and your junior year is done, so either the summer or the fall of your senior year, summer of your junior year, fall of your senior year to clarify that, you can apply online at LTU.edu. Your application fee will automatically be waived if you apply online through the Lawrence Tech app. So that'll save you $30, so that's always a good thing. You'll want to request an official high school transcript to be sent to us, your official test scores, ACT or SAT. If you've taken both, send both. There is a personal essay required and a letter of recommendation. As far as the essay goes, a lot of students ask, what are you looking for in an essay? Primarily anything that we or you would like to let us know that we wouldn't know from your transcript or your letter of recommendation, I would include in that essay. If you're working at the same time in school, if you're in athletics, anything you're involved in that kind of goes above and beyond, or what your goals are, that's something that we would want to know. The letter of recommendation can be from any coach, school official, teacher, counselor. Those are very similar things to many universities as far as requirements go. If you are interested in any program that is specifically design related to game art, industrial design, or transportation design, there are portfolios required for those areas. And we do have the portfolio requirements specifically on our website at ltu.edu once again. And what we're typically looking for as a whole, we're not looking for a specific grade point, or ACT score or anything like that. We're looking at everything as a whole. We want to see, how you do in your core classes. That's very important, especially the fields that we offer here. You need to have a strong math and science background, strong in language and literature, in your social sciences. So what we're going to do is actually recalculate your GPA and see how you do in those core classes as well. That's important for us to see. We look at grade trends, the type of courses that you're taking, if you're taking any AP courses, if you're taking any honors courses, that's things that, we really do look at because those are challenging, IB curriculum as well. So it's definitely something we look for. And like I said, it's better to apply early so you don't miss out on opportunities regarding scholarships. And I'll touch on scholarships later on in the presentation. But it's usually better to kind of get a start too. That way you can see, most people aren't applying to only one university. You can kind of see, where you're accepted to and make decisions based off of that as well. So for students that are accepted, the first year experience is really a good way to kind of connect with other students once you get to campus. It helps the transition of everything. So you're not as lost as when you come from high school and go to college. So you have a male and a female mentor. That way, if you connect with one better than the other, there's an option for you. Discovery Days is a program connected to our orientation in the fall. That's going to be with all incoming students. That way you can kind of, network and meet with other students that are in the same boat as you. They're coming right from high school. They want to connect with other students. They want to take advantage of everything the university has to offer right from the get-go. So transitionally, it makes it a lot easier, and we find that because of the way we have that first year experience set up, it definitely helps the retention with students coming from their first to second year, because they have kind of a more connection to the university and things like that. Midterm grades are posted for students at the freshman year, which is important. That way you can see how you're doing. And if you need to make any adjustments, it's easy for you to notice ahead of time instead of when your final grades come out and you said, oh man, I really wish I would have did better. Or, I need to maintain a certain GPA for a scholarship. We kind of keep you on track. That way you really do know about that ahead of time. If any of you are transfer students out there, which means you're coming from a different college or university right out of high school, the only difference between the freshman and transfer admission is really we're going to look at if you have over 30 credits elsewhere, we're going to look at your cumulative GPA, and then we still need the official transcripts from all the schools you went to. Still require a portfolio. The high school transcript, essay, and letter are still requirements. And what will happen is we'll look at transfer credit per course. As long as you get a C or better in each course, it's eligible to transfer over. It just has to have the same content as the courses that we have here. So that's definitely an option for you as well. So if anyone out there is already accepted and applied to the university, which would be great, if you haven't already received an email for Connect Blue, you can contact our office directly and we can set you up for that. Connect Blue is definitely a great opportunity for you to connect with students that have been accepted. That way people coming in before you actually get to the university for orientation. So it's set up just like Facebook. You can add friends, you can post on people's walls, you can send pictures, videos, things like that, make comments on pages. So it's a cool way to really connect with people, because you aren't going to know too many people unless you might have seen someone on campus when you came for a visit or something like that. If you haven't signed up for university housing and you want to attend this upcoming fall, I would definitely do that as soon as possible. Housing is at capacity, which is a good thing, and there's good news coming up too that we do have a new housing coming, because housing, a lot of people are taking advantage of it. And as I said earlier, since we are a diverse campus and we do have students coming from elsewhere, and they need a place to stay. So that's definitely something you would want to do ahead of time. If you haven't already signed up for your placement assessments or orientation and registration, I would do that as well. And what those events actually are is placement assessments are going to vary depending on your major. So what those are tests that primarily are going to tell us what level of course to put you in. So let's say you've never taken calculus but you want to go into engineering. What exactly we're going to do is we're going to, you have a math placement. Based on the results, we'll say, okay, does this student have enough previous knowledge to go into Calculus 1, or may they need to take a trig course or something like that? The main reasoning is we don't want to put you in a course that you already know all the information, and you're wasting your time and effort and money, and we don't want to put you in a course that's going to be hard, because that's not going to benefit you or us. So it really is going to set you up with the right courses for you to succeed here. Orientation and registration, it's a two-part program. Orientation kind of gets you acquainted with the university. It allows you to see everything, know where to go for certain questions, and then you'll actually meet with an advisor and you'll sign up for all your courses. If anyone is in the honors program or an athlete, those students are actually pre-registered. And what that means is they'll be put in courses automatically based on their placements, and what that will do is it'll avoid any conflicts with scheduling, because the honors program, there's certain sections only for honor students, and for athletics it's going to be based around the practices and game schedules. So we try to limit any conflict as much as possible and make the transition to high school, from high school to college, as easy as possible. So regarding how much the university costs, we are a private university. If you're kind of researching different schools and how much they cost and everything like that, Lawrence Tech is definitely a great value as far as private universities go. Overall cost is around $38,000. That includes tuition, fees, and housing and a meal plan. So if you're looking at other schools, they might go $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 as far as private costs go. So we're definitely a great value. What that is based off of is 30 credits for the year. So that's something you want to ask too if you're looking at a few different schools. It's kind of confusing depending on how the schools actually put it out there. Some schools give you a cost for 24 credits, which is 2 semesters at 12 credits, which is definitely full time. But the only thing is you're probably not going to finish that program in 4 years, so it's not really a realistic estimate. We average ours for 30 credits, which is 15 per semester for the fall and the spring, and that'll actually give you a good idea of, what do I need to take to finish a program in 4 years. It's more of a realistic estimate for you. There's 2 different housing rates depending on if you have a 2-person or a 4-person apartment. You'll notice I didn't say a 2-person or 4-person dorm, and I'll go to why that's exciting and what that means when we talk about housing here. Meal plan prices are all the same. The only difference in that is if you get so many meals per week, or if you get so much Blue Devil dollars per week to use at Einstein Bagels, or to pay for meals too. Excuse me. So talking about cost, you might say, well, I'm a very good student. Are there any scholarships that you offer? We do offer many scholarships. We're very generous in that regard. So what we're looking at as far as merit-based scholarships is, what your overall GPA is and how you do on your standardized tests. So since we're a Midwestern school, most people are going to be taking their ACT. So we have the ACT composites we're looking for scholarships on here. If you take the SAT, we're basing that off your math and critical reading sections, so pretty much everything except the writing on the SAT. Now, when you apply to the university, we don't make you do any additional application for scholarships. These would be offered automatically, which is nice because, if you apply, you're accepted to the university. Let's say you have a 3.0 and a 24 ACT that's indicated on this chart here. What that means is you'll automatically be offered a $6,000 scholarship to attend Lawrence Tech for 4 years. So that's great. Let's say you have something that's not as cookie cutter as on this chart, which is very possible, and there's a lot of cases like that. So a lot of students say, well, I have a higher test score than I do a GPA, or vice versa. I have a higher GPA than I do test score. In those instances, those actually go to a committee and they meet to review scholarships, and they'll award accordingly. So if anyone has any questions about scholarships or things like that, please ask. It looks like someone's asking. Okay, for the Buell Honor Scholarship on here, it does say under ACT or SAT, it says outstanding, and they want to know what that means. So what that means is, if you look right under the outstanding, it says a 30 or a 1320 as far as the test goes. So I guess mathematically it would be a 31 or anything above a 1320. The only thing is, this is going to be different each year. So we offer 2 of the Buell Honor Scholarships each year, so it's very competitive. So an outstanding ACT could be a 35, it could be, a 34. It really depends because it changes each year depending on the applicant pool. So in most cases, those people would automatically qualify for the presidential scholarship. So they would be awarded that, and then after the first of the year, they would start taking all those students and determining who would be offered that Buell Scholarship. So that's very good. There's many students that actually take ACT or SAT more than once, which is very common. What we do here at Lawrence Tech is we're going to take whatever your highest composite is for your ACT, or we're going to take whatever the higher, if you take both, which equivalent is higher. Some schools are going to super score ACT, which we do not do. So that's a question a lot of people have when they're asking about scholarships as well. One other thing, if you think back to when I was talking about what we look for admission when we recalculate your GPA based on your core classes. We'll use what's ever higher considering GPA for scholarships. Whether if it's your weighted GPA on your transcripts, your unweighted GPA, or your recalculated. So for instance, let's say you have a 3.2 GPA on your transcripts, but you have a 3.4 when I recalculate it based on your core classes, we're going to use that 3.4. So that's definitely going to be beneficial to you. Transfer scholarships, you'll notice we do offer them. There's not as many as freshman opportunities, and these are specifically based off your cumulative college/university GPA and then how many credits actually transfer into your program. So it's not necessarily the number of credits that you've taken, it's the ones that actually come over into the program. So there's opportunities there as well. Now there are some additional scholarships. So if you qualify for merit-based or not, these are all separate. And it's nice because many of these you can use in addition to the merit-based scholarships if you do qualify. So we have competition for accepted freshman students each year. There's one for Michigan students, and then there's one for out-of-state students. For both of these, you can earn up to $4,000 on top of any other scholarships that you have. There's a preliminary essay for both of them, and then if you're invited to campus, you could earn up to $4,000. So that's definitely a great opportunity to fund your education. If you're any design student, there's portfolio scholarships. So that's any architecture, interior architecture, graphic design, interior architecture, interaction design, transportation design, and industrial design. There's scholarships based on portfolios, and those are typically due by March 1st. All this information is on our website. Once again, that's ltu.edu, and it has specifics regarding the criteria and what people are looking for to submit for all these areas. If anyone out there is an athlete, we do offer athletic scholarships, and it's going to be specifically based on whatever the coach thinks. So it could be $1,000 per year, it could be all the way up to a full ride for athletics. So those are definitely available. If anyone's interested in our athletic programs, and you want to get in contact with a coach, the sooner the better that you can do that. You would want to go to ltuathletics.com, and there's a recruit form on there you can fill out, and a coach will contact you. That way you can kind of get on their radar. If there's anyone interested in any STEM-related programs for power engineering, there's scholarships for that. If anyone took part in FIRST Robotics, there's scholarship opportunities for that too. And like I said earlier, you can use a couple of these. So let's say you get an athletic scholarship and you're a strong academic student, you may be able to get both of those if you qualify for both. So it's definitely a great opportunity to fund your education at Lawrence Tech. So as I said earlier, we're definitely student focused. This building really shows off why we are that way and what we do for the students to make that happen. So I'm actually in this building right now. The Office of Admissions is in that building, so that's where I am. There's an Academic Achievement Center on campus, which offers free tutoring for students. So if you're struggling in an English course and you need help writing an essay, if you're struggling in a math course, you need help with a problem, anything, you could just walk right in there or make an appointment, and you'll always have someone that can help you out. Obviously they prefer appointments, but sometimes you're struggling with something and you just need help real quick, and there might not be someone around to help you, so you can go right in there. We talked about leadership curriculum earlier. That's offered through our Office of Leadership and First Year Experience. The computer help desk is going to be anything related to your device from the LTU Zone that we talked about. The one-stop center is a very unique thing as well. So like I said earlier, we're a very small private school, so we're trying to make it as easy as possible to help the student out. So the one-stop center is a kind of one-stop shop for students to answer any questions they may have regarding student accounting, registration, financial aid, anything related to the current student, so not an incoming student. They would be able to be helped at the one-stop center. University housing is also in this building. Student affairs, career services, international programs. So it's very easy to get questions answered. The university is definitely a great place for people to work together too, so we can get you the help you need. Career services definitely helps the students out, and that's not only when they're getting ready to graduate, but there's opportunities as a freshman for career services to help you out, so to help you land that job that everyone's wanting to get from going to college. Speaking of jobs, as far as employment opportunities go, Lawrence Tech definitely is up there as far as return on investment, which means we're in the top 7% of schools nationally as far as how much you pay towards tuition. How does that relate to salaries after? And that's important to know too, because in order to have a salary, obviously you have to have a job. So if you look on here, it says that 88% of Lawrence Tech students are employed 6 months after graduation. That's very high. It's much higher than the national average, which you'll notice there is about 55%. So that means about half of the students that attend college are actually going to get a specific job. It's not that good. The advantages that we have here and how we set everything up is student focused, so that's going to give you different opportunities and advantages to be one of the 88% of students that do get a job. Many students do take part in co-ops and internships. It's not required for all majors, but there are some programs that require them. Some are paid, some are not paid. Most of those are going to be through the Office of Career Services, but some of those are actually going to be through the departments or your professors. Like I said earlier, professors are in their field, so that's definitely an advantage, and it will help you, if they say, hey, I have a friend at work that's looking for someone to intern this summer in this specific area. I see you're strong in this area. If you want to take advantage of this, go for it. So you'll hear about a lot of opportunities. A common question too is, do you have co-ops? Do you have internships? It's not a question of if we do, it's exactly, you'll have options. So most people are going to choose the paid ones, obviously, and most people will take more than one opportunity at a co-op or internship. That's a great way for an employer to check you out. It's a nice way for you to see how they do their thing too. So there's over 200 companies that do attend the university each year. So we're not talking only a few, and these are companies that are national too. There's companies from all over. There's a few California-based companies that swooped up a couple students that worked in our office last year. Their internships turned into full-time employment upon graduation. So there's definitely opportunities for that. Okay, earlier I was talking about apartment style versus dorm living. Not too many schools only have apartment style living, which we do right now. We have 2 units that are both apartment style, a north housing and a south housing. And by apartment style, I mean they have a living room, they're fully furnished, there's a dishwasher, a kitchen in each one, and a bathroom. So it's not necessarily the community style living you might be familiar with if you've been to some universities. But the new freshman housing, which is on there too, that's going to be coming for next fall 2015, that's going to give students, specifically freshmen, an opportunity to start in a community style living, and then they'd be able to move up to the apartment style. So we will have 3 units. Housing is definitely something to take advantage of, even if you live close enough where you can commute. A lot of students just like to live the college life, and because they're so tied up with all their projects and presentations and studio and lab work, they're here quite often, so they'd rather just roll out of bed in housing a couple minutes before class instead of making the commute. So that's something, it is optional. Freshmen are not required to live on campus, but it is recommended. But we don't make you live on campus as a freshman like some institutions do. Parking is free on campus. It's a common question a lot of people have. Some schools you have to pay every time you go in and out of a lot. You might have to pay for a parking pass. With us, it's already included, so you don't have to worry about that as far as an additional fee or anything. For those of you that are interested in athletics, and it might not be interested to play, it might just be interested to watch, and that's fine. These are all the athletics that we currently have. So Lawrence Tech is in the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, the NAIA. So all the sports that are listed on here, we compete at the varsity level. Men's and women's basketball, bowling, cross country, hockey, lacrosse. I won't read them all because they're on here. It's very competitive. Like I said earlier, you can earn athletic scholarships in these areas. If you're interested in playing a sport, but you might not want to do that at the varsity level, we do have intramural sports. They have things like flag football. They do golf. There's a frisbee golf course. Um, Disc golf right around the campus too. There's 18 holes, so that's kind of cool. Um, if you're thinking, well, I've never heard of this league, or this is a little smaller, who do you guys play against? We play a lot of other private small schools kind of like us. So if you're from Michigan, you might be familiar with schools like Siena Heights, Aquinas, Cornerstone, things like that. Out-of-state schools too, so like Indiana Tech, Northwestern Ohio. They do travel and recruit all over. Um, Athletics is in its fourth varsity season, so it is definitely coming along. It's definitely something to go check out. All games are free for students, so you can check out any athletic event and it's free. You don't even have to pay for it. If you go to larger schools and you try to go to a football game, most likely you're going to have to pay or something like that. At Lawrence Tech, everything's free in the regard to athletics, so that's definitely an advantage here. If athletics is not your thing and you just want to, be part of some organization related to your major, if you're interested in a fraternity or a sorority, um, there's a lot of options for you too. There's an honor society as well for students that are high achieving. There's a group we have called SPAM. It's students planning activities monthly. They have, things like magicians, comedians. They do different movies and things like that. There's a lot to do on campus. Most people are going to take advantage of at least one of these opportunities. It's kind of hard to not find anything you're interested in on campus. And if you think you can and you want to, pursue a new club or an organization, as long as you get, I think it's like 10 students that want to do the same thing, you can petition to have a new club or organization too. So that's kind of nice, and it's beneficial to be at a small school because things like that can happen a lot quicker too. So these are some different ways that Lawrence Tech has been recognized. I talked about the return on investment, so it is a great value. Like I said earlier, it's in the top 7% of schools nationally as far as kind of the bang for the buck. It's a military-friendly school. It's definitely a top 50 unwired campus. The campus is entirely Wi-Fi. Since you do have your laptop or tablet beginning your freshman year, we don't have too many labs because every classroom technically is a lab. You're going to have that computer and you're going to bring it around and you will use it. You're going to use it definitely starting your first semester. So there's definitely things that you'll be doing here that you won't have opportunities to do at other schools, at least starting your freshman year too. You'll start things earlier here, which is nice. This is definitely very exciting for us. This is going to be a new complex. It's going to connect our engineering and our science buildings. It's going to be the A. Alfred Tubman Engineering, Life Sciences, and Architecture Complex. It's going to be brand new. It's going to have state-of-the-art equipment in it. There's going to be more labs specifically for biomedical engineering, robotics, architecture, and science-related fields. So the first phase is set to begin next fall, which if you look back, the new housing complex is also for the fall, so the university is definitely growing and there's a lot of great things that are happening with us. One of the best things that you can do is to visit campuses. We have a lot of different opportunities, even if you just want to visit for, take a quick tour. We do have summer camp opportunities, as you'll see here. These are related to most of the majors and areas that we have on campus. The camps are specifically residential unless you do want to commute. Most people take advantage of the residential option. That way they can kind of get a feel for university housing as well. So how these are set up is you'll actually be in the camp for the day. Those are taught all by faculty from Lawrence Tech. And then at night we do evening activities as well. That way you can kind of unwind and network with people from all over. And the camps are as diverse as the student population is too. There's students that come from international areas, Colombia, Argentina, all over, all different states too. There's a girl that came from Italy that's coming back. These are very popular. It's a great way to check out a major before you kind of look at universities too. It's a great way to check out universities. That way you can see the facilities, see the labs, see how the faculty is for you as well. Campus visits is probably the most important thing that you can actually do, whether it be here and or any other school. That way you really do get a feel for how everything is at the school, if it's a good fit for you too. You're not going to really know if you're just, looking on their webpage or you're just kind of heard about it from someone. You'll definitely want to go check it out. So we highly recommend you do that. There are other opportunities other than the summer camps that we have too. We have blue and white days every other Friday, which is a great opportunity to tour campus, meet with faculty. You eat in the cafeteria. Food's important too. You want to see what you're going to be eating. So definitely take advantage of that too. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to take them now. Other than that, I appreciate everyone listening, and I hope that you will come visit Lawrence Tech in the near future. And if you're on campus, please come and say hi to me. I'll wait a few seconds and see if we have any questions here. Okay, I have a question here regarding AP scores. So, if you're taking any advanced placement and you do take those exams, we do accept AP scores. The only thing that we look for is specific scores on those tests, and it must be in the area of your major. For instance, calculus is one that primarily goes for everything, but let's say you're taking an AP bio, but you're going to go into architecture, which doesn't necessarily require biology in the curriculum. That may not come over. If you have any questions about AP guidelines, we have that information on our website as well, but it is important to know that we do offer course credit for AP. So that was a good question. There's also an opportunity for you to earn credit regarding International Baccalaureate. We take the higher level courses if you have questions about that. And also if you're taking the CLEP exam, we do offer course credit in that regard too. If any students dual enrolling at a school while they're in high school, make sure that you send those transcripts in as well when you're applying. That way we can look at those courses and determine if they do qualify for any of the courses that would be in your curriculum, so you can earn course credit that way. Okay, it looks like we have one last question. What's your average ACT and what's your average GPA? So the average student that came in for last fall, as far as our incoming students, had about a 3.46 GPA, and they had about a 25 ACT. So that's a fairly strong class. That doesn't mean that, if you're right around there, you may or may not get into the university. Like I said earlier, we do look at everything as a whole. That just gives you an idea as far as last year's class, what they had. So even if you have a 3.45 and say, oh, I don't have a 3.46, I don't know if I should apply, you can always apply. It can't hurt to apply. Even if you apply early, you're not committed to the university, but at least you'll know, if it is an option for you. But yeah, hopefully we see everyone on campus, and if you have any questions, just let me know. And I think that's it. Thank you all. Have a good day.